Kingdom, training for yourselves. Want to take a minute to express my personal gratitude, and I think I should in this respect. We had the idea last year to try to raise money to give us the opportunity to cast a wider net and bring in some different perspectives for fighting. Fighting in Trimaris is awesome. We're very blessed in that respect. We have a lot of different things going on, a lot of different styles. But having the opportunity to bring in some guest lecturers to get some different things and see what else is going on in other kingdoms, I think is going to be a great benefit to us. So we had the idea with the football jerseys and the t-shirts, and through your generosity and your efforts in that respect, we were able to bring in Duke Brannos from the mid-realm this year. And for which we are very grateful. We thank you, and we, of course, we will express that as well to the folks who were not here that purchased t-shirts and jerseys to make that possible. And in that vein, we have a new t-shirt design for this year, and I think it's really kick-ass hot. And I'll show that off at lunch, and we'll talk about that later. Without too much further ado, I'll not do until I actually see where he's standing. Oh, yes.
Introduce my good wife, the Honorable Lady Brandeis. She's our autocrat.
If you haven't signed in, please see me. It'll only take a second. We just need you to sign the roster waiver, okay? Yes. You haven't done that yet? That's it. That's all I got.
TDU, still free.
Woo! With awesome prizes and really yummy lunch.
Okay. So this is how things are going to run today. In a second, Brannos is going to come up and do whatever it is he does. Hopefully it involves some fighting. Later on, we're going to, in a couple hours, we're going to take a break for lunch. After lunch, we're going to have a tournament, as we normally do with TDU. We have some great touring prizes, again, due in large part to your generosity. There is a belt. I mean, a belt really doesn't do it justice because it's like
wrestling belt.
It would be a girdle.
There's a nice kidney belt I will. I generally don't show prizes before list.
I feel like I lose some testosterone points.
Is it appropriate to return?
Yes.
Girdle of St. Martin's strength. Plus 100 water fighting.
No biscuit. So,
some lights may or may not have a
the victor in the tournament receives this girdle, which is really cool. Thank you, Faust. Faust made that, and it's not kind of akin to what he's wearing, except different. The highest placing unbelt in the tournament will get a pair of period boots. They don't have to be red. But they are made by the same guy who made these for me. He lives in Orlando. His name is Alan. He's a great guy, and that is the prize for the highest placing unbelt. So,
Sorry, Grace.
He's late. Late fly. Late.
He's late. Class. Without further interruption, our guest lecturer, a dude from the mid-realm and a legend in the SCA, Brannos.
Legend usually means you're old, and I feel it sometimes, but hey, at the beginning of class, what we're going to go through is, and I'll cover this now, I'll probably say it over and over again, this is not a case where I'm going to come down and teach you all how to fight different, okay? The idea here is to see some stuff different. I'm going to show you some stuff, you'll be like, eh? But I want you to understand what it is so that when you go against other people and they do it, you're like, ah, I know what that is. There may be some people that grab onto it and go on with it. You just never know until you see it. Okay. Big part of this is also the chance to learn just some different terminology for teaching, because that's actually one of the weakest points. We have some great martial artists in the SCA. Okay, we have the chance to go out and learn free form and pick up what fits our body the best, which is very rare in a lot of martial arts. So that part I think we do very well. I think the part we don't do well is we don't have the full understanding of how to teach and terminology and what are some pieces that may be missing. A lot of us come out here and we focus so much on what we have, where we have to hit somebody, and how hard we have to hit somebody, that we forget everything else. I've worked with great MMA guys and stuff like that. You know, as soon as you start talking feet and pressure and stuff, they're like, man, I've done that for years. But for some reason, they came into the SCA and they got a sword. So they, look, I got a sword. This is what it's all about. You know, we're going to get back to that fundamental. This is a martial art just like any of the others. Our bodies work pretty much the same as the bodies that were worked in the 15th and 14th and the 12th century. Okay, the things we do are very much things that they probably have done, would have done. Of course, we added our own stuff to it because ours is a sport and not a place where we're getting killed. Okay, so we're going to start out with what I really think is probably the piece that's missing the most from everything we do, and that is footwork today. Okay, the class is going to be, I'm going to run it pretty quick so you guys we can kind of wrap it up around 1. And but we're going to start out with footwork. Nobody has to, no helmets. Drop your gear if you want, if you're uncomfortable in it. But we're just going to go over some ideas of footwork and of center. Understand again, there's lots of different ways to perform footwork depending on the type of martial art you're in. Just taking a generic understanding of where our center is and how to control your body by using your center instead of your shoulders. Okay, so that people understand that and then you practice that. Because that's a big part of footwork is what ends up winning you the bout. Because you will use later, and I'll show you, you will use footwork to place your opponent where you want him so that you can take advantage of it. Okay? But without that, then the fight is, you know, you don't have a full understanding of the fight. You'll find that there are great knights already here and fighters here that probably already have very good footwork. Okay? The trick is they have very good footwork because they just kind of had it before, they learned it, they learned that the way they move is key to what they do. But again, it just happens. And instead of, here's a place where we're going to start with, here's why it's important. And then we'll develop right up from there, all the way into throwing, and then we'll reapply footwork, motion, and things like that to show you how that all builds into one fighting style. All right? So I'm ready to start anytime you guys are. If you want to drop any of the gear that you're uncomfortable in or anything, that's fine. We're going to run through some interesting scenarios. Don't be surprised if you fall down. But just if you have questions, go ahead and ask. If you just don't find it interesting, there's lots of property here. So if you find somebody else who just wants to go and fight, I don't have a problem with that, guys. Okay, I'm not so much. This is about me. This is about you guys getting better. Okay, so and if you want to wander back later in the class, you know, when a different class starts up that fits what you want to do, you're more than welcome to come back and we'll show you those things. Okay, so everybody ready?
Absolutely, yep.
All right, let's go learn something. I did that for about 2 years, and finally I was down in Meridier's, and this Grace Brew showed me an exercise he had learned for somebody else. It's a half a Tai Chi exercise. And basically, you start with your hand flat, you roll her out to your side, fingers down and shoulder high. Turn your head away. You can do this with your sword in your hand later, which what it does here, and you can put, I know guys that put it against the wall, is this stretches these tendons right in here, and you do it about 10 times. It's just a slow flow up to the shoulder, straight out, head away, always keeping hands high. And I'll show you later what you want to do. You'll add a little bit of rotation, okay? And if you want, you can add a little bit of wall. Make sure you don't press so hard that it hurts, because that's not the place where you want it. You just want to kind of press a little bit, get that. You don't want full pain all the time. I'm going to tell you what's happening here is if everybody's standing around, look at this gentleman right over here taping. Look how his arms bent. Right? When we stand around, our arms are bent almost all the time. So these tendons in your elbow, right, they shrink to that size because they don't need to be any longer, right? Because we're not stretching them. How many people throw big, nice shots and you get full extension, right? So what's happening is you're aggravating these and these swell. Okay? As soon as you swell, you get pain. Now you get ones under your arm too that it caused that. Unfortunately, I don't know the stretch for that one because I haven't had the problem, so I figured that out. But what we're doing in this exercise is we're actually stretching these tendons back to a longer length. So what happens, okay, is now when you throw these, you're not hyperextending them very quickly because now they're just going to a length that they're already comfortable with. The problem in our technique is that we start very fast. We go out there, it's like, okay, I'm warm, right? And then next thing you know, we're throwing. And then it's not even stretched at all. Okay, so it aggravates itself very fast and then you're done, okay? So if you get a chance, you know, as soon as my elbow even starts twinging, I'll be like, hey, you know, just rotate it out. You hang a sword on the back edge, right? Rotate it out. Great exercise to do. Shoulder problems, anyone? I know, and I'm going through. I got doing PT on this shoulder right now, thanks to His Grace, and this one I get surgery on soon. So congratulations. But what I've been doing for years, and it's helped a good bit, is just warming them up, guys. Getting the fluid back into those joints. You don't have to really work this hard, but just get on that ground and roll them in their joints. Okay. Okay. So I'll just roll it for a while. And what that's doing, and boy, you guys with the bad shoulders get to hear all the pops. Isn't that awesome? And then roll them the other way. Okay? Yeah, I can't move. I know. And so by doing this, what you're doing is you're putting fluid back in that joint. You're warming that joint, rolling those muscles around in there, and that's what creates the tendons. Get some fluid back. Some slow, nice exercises with just these little easy rollovers. Okay? And anytime you can move your hand at all points of the clock and get a different stretch. All right? Again, don't do it so it hurts so much that you're going to actually cause damage. Just a nice slow. Here is the case where you're using our body very easily to get warmed up. It doesn't take that long. You're not sweating or anything before you do this. We're just getting to a point where we're not going to incur more injury. Okay? So, those are some very simple ones. You guys all probably know, most of us have done some type of high school activities. We all got stretched. We all learned how to do some basic leg stretches and things like that. You know, for fencers and stuff like that, you got to make sure you do your lunges. If you're a big spear guy, you better make sure you get used to these good, nice, long lunges, right? Because there ain't nothing worse than a hamstring or a groin injury. So, you know, so just make sure you're nice and warmed up that way. Okay, next piece, what we're going to be covering is simple movement, okay? And some simple, maybe some not so much. In many cases, the way we move dictates how our fight works, how we move in that fight, okay? And probably some of the simplest ways to look at it is even how we walk, all right? And almost anybody can answer this. What happens as soon as I do this?
Weight transfer. Change the angle of your body
And where am I? I'm stuck, ain't I? Okay? Almost any martial art you find, they'll do, and I'll show people this all the time, and if you have a problem with people doing small feet, is what I call it, is they do these half C's. I know people that do these outside half C's. I have a hard time. But this is an exercise that's done in martial arts, not because this is how I want you to walk, okay? Although it keeps your feet under you, it keeps under your center. It's that we want you to have smaller steps. Hard to do a big step, it's like with a C in it. You know, I can step way out here and be stumped. If I here, now I'm keeping my hip underneath. All right? So what we talk about there is small feet. All right? So let's go ahead and do like 2 staggered lines. Everyone watch out for this hole right here, and we'll be facing this way. We're just do a little bit of walk in a fight and see how wide your feet spread with almost every throw. I'm going to tell you, as soon as you spread your feet wide, and somebody gets you to spread your feet wide, then you cannot move anymore. Okay? Compared to this stance pins your hip into the place where it is. Okay, compared to this one, where now I can still free my hip up to do what I want. Okay, we're going to be doing a lot of that. Again, please be careful of this hole. So all we're going to do, we're going to walk up to the ladies over here, and we're just going to do this and back perfectly straight. Okay. Just little half-seat. Bend your knees. I want everybody crouched. If you are standing up, okay, ready, stop. If you are standing perfectly straight up, you will lose. Okay? Because you cannot move. Not only can you not move, I'll show you later how you cannot throw. Power comes from the ground, guys. If I am standing here, what am I using to throw a shot? My shoulders. Because that's the only thing I have. If I'm here, what am I using to throw my shot? This. Okay? Watch some of these good boxers and martial artists. I guarantee you, okay, if they want power, they're driving it from the mat. All right? The idea...
Oh,
I will step in.
you'll have longer than I do.
Okay, the idea is that we use our center to move ourselves around instead of our body. Okay? And I'll probably show you, get a nice spry young guy out here. Thank you. Okay? How we move, okay? In this case, you're gonna actually run backwards. So why don't you come on over here? I'm gonna chase you a little bit, and you're gonna run. Don't let me keep at this distance. Okay, ready? Go. Very nice, actually. Now you notice how he's still tilting a bit forward, right? He's still, and actually he did this very well. He started out really nice, and then later he tilted a little bit. But and he's driving with his toes a little. Okay? Make sure I don't fall down. Ready? And you come at me. Okay? What's happening in this second case, and he backs up very well compared to most I see, so he's a hard case to show. But in this case, what we're going to do is, now you go ahead and step at me. Not bad. Now squat. Little, there, now step. Good. You notice how his back is perfectly straight? That's exactly what we want. As soon as we do this to move towards somebody, what happens? Our line, you got it. We lose our center of gravity. Harder to change the direction because we're not over our hip. We lose our lines of attack. Can't throw high. Right? So that's why this drill is so important. So what we're doing is we're just learning the basics. Nice and straight up. Okay? Everybody spread, staggered, come on forward a little bit. Gonna stagger that line out a little bit. In this case, we're gonna go ahead and run this one more time, but I want you guys to kick it up a little bit on the speed, okay? and let it flow. How many people are gonna have to run forward or quickly move forward on something? Yeah, every one of us. Congratulations. So this should be an easy exercise, okay? So this time, again, our hole is right here.
Now it's got bungee sticks.
Yeah, now we have a bungee stick. Somebody got a shield or something? So what we're going to do to stay, we're going to move forward at about 3/4 at a little faster pace. But this time what we're going to do is we start by pushing our hip over our front toe. And when it gets to a point where you start losing your balance, your feet take the next piece. Okay? All right. All right. So, just so everybody gets used to it, okay? Everybody get in a good stance, whatever that's going to be. Your stance should be pretty centered. Now shift your weight over to your front foot. Nice. Straight up and down. Everybody eyes up. There we are. Not looking at somebody's feet. Okay? Shift back. Squat. Lower. Forward. Back. Congratulations, you just applied tension. Okay? You just applied tension to your opponent, and we're learning how to understand where our hips are. So if I'm here, I'm not very much of a threat. If I'm here, I'm more of a threat. Okay? So what we're learning not only is how to move, but we're also learning how to manipulate your opponent's. All right? All right, so this time, thrust yourself, and all we're gonna do is lean over our front and just move a little faster. How's that knee work? All right, everybody turn around. No, I never had somebody have so much fun in class. Yeah. I'm alive. Hey, well, there you are. It makes you know you're alive, right? All right. Let's see it again here, okay? You got to really focus. Try to keep it small. Remember, small feet, it'll still allow you to do something. And your center is always carrying you forward. The good part is center can carry you any way you want. Okay? All right. Ready? Shift your balance forward. Forward more, not with your shoulders, with your body, with your hips. There you go. And let it flow all the way forward till you move. Very good. Good. All right, ready, stop. Still to this day, okay? It's all about perfection and about making sure you're doing it right all the time. Don't get caught up in bad training habits, because that will lead you to your downfall. All right, who's ready to sprint that out a little bit more? All right, let's do a little bit more. Last one's going to be a little bit about the same speed. If you're comfortable, if your leg hurts that bad, don't do it.
I'm not.
Okay.
It's okay. I know how fast I can go.
Okay. So again, I'm going to say shift and fall and go. Okay. Oh. Now, one thing you will notice on this is what happens in transition in this scenario. If I'm fighting and I'm here, a little range, and I go, he's already gone, right? What does he see? Out of his peripheral view, he sees my feet. Okay, here I am. All right, what's happening is what I call being on a railroad track. Okay, the idea here is if you're standing on a railroad track, watching a train come at you, how fast does it look? Doesn't look at all, because you have no peripheral view of how it's going. That's why we have so much problem with that scenario. Okay, stand to the side, you'd be like, oh, okay, that baby's cooking. The same thing happens in transition when you're fighting. So if I do this, what happens? Okay? If I move that foot, there we go. Okay? So a lot of times, okay? So you just have easy flow. It's all about that subtle flow through. Head can't bob, okay? And shoulders are up. If I go at him and I do this to move, now where are my angles?
All down. You're going down.
And where does he go?
Back of the head.
Exactly. And not only that, where's my shield? Down too, okay? Even a subtle, even if you don't think you're doing it, but you find yourself leaning forward a little bit to move, it's taking away stuff that you guys, it's crucial that we understand that we do right, all right? So, body, always straight. Legs, always got to be bent, okay? All right, so that's easy. Everybody knows how to move forward, right? Okay, now I want you guys, what we'll do is, and we can do 3 lines. Everybody pair up and look at each other type deal. I don't care where the lines are going, this way or that long way, that's fine. I just need lines so I can look down. All right, come on, back it up with these guys right here. Back it up with these guys. There we go. All right, keep going. Okay, we're gonna need a little bit more. Go ahead. Get off a little bit. All right, good. Just so we don't step on each other. This next exercise, all right, is a lot of times, if he's charging me, I want to move, where does, all of a sudden my butt gets out, where does my shoulder shift? What, is that good?
For me.
Okay, so what happens in this case is the same thing. We drop our hip right into that empty zone behind us. So he comes, all right, so I'm just dropping it right here. I still have all my angles I want to use. Same thing happens if I go and he charges. Okay, and I'm still moving, and I can still change up anytime I want. If you're driving with your toes, always going to push you. You're going to drive your hips back and tend to get into this V formation. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful that your body is straight. Okay? So we're going to do a simple exercise. It starts out real slow. The first time, we're going to do right hip moves away. In other words, what happens is it's just going to be this slow. Okay? Your opponent is just going to walk through. Go ahead and walk right through, and he's going to turn last minute and walk right through so he knows. Okay? So, all right, and don't worry about too much. It's just going to be one movement. Okay, we're going to do this another way so everybody knows. I will call the side that does it. You all stay on the same side, or you have to don't counteract each other's side. Okay? Everybody, I know you guys are in longer lines, so you can figure this out. Everybody on this row with their back to me will be the person walking. The other person will be the person turning out. Okay, same thing. You guys already have your backs to me. Everybody with their backs to me is the person walking. I will call it, and you will go. And go. Okay, how many people are standing straight up? Everybody back into the same positions they started in. Okay? Remember, bend them knees. A lot of people standing up here. Okay? Do not turn out until they're near on you. In other words, I can turn out as soon as I say go. Does that help?
Nope.
All right? So, again, good form. Bend those legs and go. Good. Remember, drop the hip. Shift that weight. Okay, we're going to do this really slow. And in this case, nobody's going to move, and everybody can try this at the same time. I want everybody to stand here and drop the weight into the empty spot behind them. If you're left-handed, that's fine. You can go the other way. Just be careful of the person behind you. But I just want you to drop your hip, almost like you're sitting into no seat. Okay? Go ahead. Just straight up. Just drop a hip in there. Just almost sit down into nothing. Okay? So you're sitting into nothing, essentially. You have to move, don't you? Because now your body, your balance is actually pulling you into there instead of pushing you out of there. Your feet don't have to move. The key,
Again.
the very big part of this is, here's the understanding. When I go to push to get out of that position, I actually have to tense on my front foot to push away. That's two movements. Okay? You got two movements in that. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm just dropping a butt right into that spot. Yes? Same people that had their backs to me before. Again, it's going to be a slow walk. Ready? And go! Same thing. Same thing. Ah, I got you. Exactly. That's the idea, right? And again, let's do it again. Okay. Ready, try this slow down. If you have
that's what we're seeing. Righty on righty, that's what we're seeing. When you're seeing the lefty on lefty, you're seeing
if you're standing with your leg back,
still going to be out of position.
in the vertical, then what's going to happen?
Yeah, but I'm. Here's my cue.
Okay. Well, then you got to be a little more careful.
I'm still. You're not.
Into a place that they're actually falling, and that's not where you want to be. Understand that as you practice this, you end up into flow instead of fall. What we're teaching now is a larger example of moving your hips into open areas so that your body follows them. In this case, our feet aren't driving us. Our body, our hips are moving us, our center. Okay? So, okay, let's see the people on the opposite side. Get their chance. And everybody ready? Everybody in a good position. Everybody's knees bent. And walk. That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, if you was still on that, I'm thinking, when he turned this way, because he's lefty. You're not prepared for it.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, this is an exercise.
Side for righty versus righty.
Or this side press.
And I like
Yeah.
mine was more of exaggerated like yours was.
Isn't that nice?
Go ahead.
That's exactly.
Hey, Grace, show us how it's done.
Okay, everybody ready?
I'll edit it out, don't worry.
Put me in the spin. And all I should do is
Or you guys just start. A lot of times instead of going back, you go back. That's fine. So he can move either.
when he's coming, am I supposed to be doing this?
Sure, you can do that. Yes, you can do that.
And as a lefty, I'm doing this, so I can.
You can do that. But it doesn't matter as long as you're pulling yourself into a position. Okay, preferably shield in front of you.
So you're not worried about footwork.
I'm not worried about
Footwork is position.
exactly.
Whatever it takes to get to that position.
Don't worry about it. On your toes. Right? You're on your toes a little bit. Right? You should be rolling on those ball or your foot. All right. Now watch. Do it again. Okay. Ready? Okay. Good part. Guys, here's an example when people have a problem.
You're doing a donut.
Moving
not
that
doing a
hip
curve.
of what I'll do. Okay? And that is, again, we're going to fall both ways. He's going to go ahead and come at me. Okay? Or we can go the other way. We got to learn whatever way we want to go. Come at me. All right? But if you have a problem with them not understanding to pull their hip, I'm going to come at you. All right? As soon as you focus at somebody's hip, that reminds them of what they have to do. And what they're going to do is they're going to shift down and sit right into that flow. That helps them understand what part of the body has to